Hey there, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. And in this video, we're gonna be talking about what are real estate boards. More specifically, how real estate is organized and managed in Ontario, why you as a consumer should care which real estate boards your agent is part of, and as an agent, the benefits and disadvantages of using certain real estate boards. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is because a few months ago, the new one regional MLS system rolled out. And surprisingly, not everyone knows about this, but what this new regional system did is combined all the major real estate boards, except Toronto, which we'll talk about a little later, into one joint organization where they can now share data between each other, and realtors that are part of these real estate boards have access to an updated interface as well as just a ton of useful information like research, statistics. This is a huge step forward in how real estate is organized and managed in Ontario. It gives realtors access to so much more data, which results in better service to their clients, and for consumers, it provides more exposure and more consistent information online, which helps out both the home searching and home selling process. And before we get started, if you're new here, what's up? My name is Andre. I'm a real estate agent in Ontario servicing Simcoe and the Toronto area. And on this channel, I make real estate related videos like this one. So if you like it, make sure to check them out. If you've ever looked around on Realtor.ca or other websites, there's a good chance you might have come across the same listing twice. Now, it would show up as just like the same listing, but it would have a different MLS number. Sometimes the photos might be smaller. Sometimes there might be even additional information included, such as the square footage on one of the listings and not on the other one. And the reason for that is because that property or listing was uploaded on multiple different real estate boards. So what are real estate boards? Now, essentially, they are a company or organization that controls, manages, and regulates the local MLS system. So back in the day when pen and paper was used, one organization couldn't really handle everything that needed to be done with every single real estate transaction happening in Ontario. So they divided off into multiple real estate boards, each managing their own section of territory. When you have Toronto, the Barrie Real Estate Board, the Lakelands Real Estate Board, which is Muskoka and beyond, Guelph, Niagara, and so on. And this made it much more manageable to collect that data and store it. And to cover the costs of this management and upkeep, real estate boards created memberships where realtors pay an annual fee to be part of these real estate boards. In turn, they are granted access to that data that they have, as well as permission to list their properties within that area and do business there, on top of some other things such as support and advertising. And as real estate went digital, so did this process of data collection and management. And that kind of resulted in a turf war because it is expensive to be part of a real estate board, anywhere between $1,000 and $1,400 a year. And that might not sound like that much, but that is just for access to the system and to be able to list your property on that real estate board and use that system. That's it. There's tons of more fees that come into being a real estate agent, which you can probably find videos on, but but it's expensive. So any real estate board that has the most members is making the most money. The MLS, or multiple listing service, which is essentially Realtor.ca, is really just a website displaying what's being published on these different real estate boards. Realtor.ca as a website is just an interface that lets you interact with it. It doesn't collect data, it doesn't have sale histories, it doesn't have research, it doesn't have anything like that. It's just displaying the information that's being collected on these real estate boards in the background. Now here's where I'm going with this. Realtor.ca is a website, but maybe you like using other websites such as Zillow, Point2 Homes, or another third-party site because you like their interface better. The same goes for real estate agents, where most agents are only part of one real estate board and prefer using only one interface or system. And as realtors started mixing and listing their properties in different real estate boards and different real estate zones, we started running into the problem of interboard listings, where, for example, I list my property on the Lakelands board in Muskoka. The agents from Toronto cannot see that property. Realtor.ca might display it, and a couple third-party sites maybe, but primarily the agents from Toronto are using the Toronto real estate board system, so they can't see that property. On the flip side, and this happens quite often, if I'm searching for a property in Barrie for a client and a certain property is listed on the Toronto real estate board, then I, as an agent part of the Barrie real estate board, won't be able to see that property, even though it's in Barrie, it's in the same city. Like, it's kind of stupid. Why can't agents have access to all listings in Ontario under a united system? And the answer to that is unfortunately money. They want you to pay to be able to have that access. As for consumers, this results in some non-consistent information. Some real estate boards say it's mandatory to have square footage displayed. Others will say it's not. Some real estate boards have partnerships with third-party sites, others do not. Overall, it's just an unnecessary inconvenience in the 21st century. For years, realtors have been complaining and wanted to see changes, and finally in 2020, it happened. 11 real estate boards joined forces to offer the benefits of one regional system. Now, it wasn't completely smooth. They had a lot of setbacks and have been working on this for quite some time now, but finally it's here, or finally it has merged. Now I can see listings, data, sales, news, projections in all regions in Ontario, and if I list a property here in Barrie and a buyer is moving from Niagara to this region, then their agent has access to it as well. So that offers more exposure for my seller. And for consumers, you get faster access. It used to take some time before hitting the MLS, then the Realtor.ca, then all the third-party sites. Now it's much faster because it's just one system. And you get more consistent information because the agent doesn't have to go and upload the same listing 3 times on 3 different systems. But despite the good news, it's not good enough. The Toronto Real Estate Board, which is the largest real estate board in all of Ontario with over 55,000 realtors signed to it, in perspective, Barrie has about under 5,000, has decided not to join this one new regional system. They continue to operate separately outside of it, meaning that agents need dual memberships to effectively list their properties anywhere outside of Toronto, and that buyers coming up from Toronto are missing out on properties potentially because they're not listed on the Toronto Real Estate Board. In my opinion, a really big reason for this is likely funding. If you take 55,000, which is the amount of agents or realtors signed to the board, times $900 a year, which is the annual fee to be part of the board, that equals almost 50 million in membership fees alone. Now, if they joined into one system, a lot of agents would cancel their dual memberships because they'd be no longer needed. So if you take away 10 to 15,000 memberships, that's a lot of money, but expenses are likely staying the same. But overall, it's still a huge step forward with this one new regional system or one shared real estate board. Hopefully in the next few years, the Toronto Real Estate Board changes its mind and decides to join this system so we can finally have one true real estate board to rule them all. Hopefully this video gave you some more insight on how real estate boards work and operate, and how organized real estate is managed in Ontario, and how it affects you both as consumers and agents on what happens behind the scenes. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week, Friday at 7.